determination. Great time to be a Longhorn. Not a better place to watch a game in town than Dirty's. About 100 years old. We just came into 99, so come see us. Come see us win this Natty, men's and women's basketball. We got it here. Hook 'em.
I never got the chance to beat these guys. Played them 4 years. And they're always a good team. But I don't think none of those games were unwinnable. Last year we lost in overtime, and so definitely excited to get another chance at these guys.
Will Howard, the former Kansas State quarterback, now at Ohio State, 0-3 against the Longhorns. That is unreal when you think about it. Thought he was a great quarterback at Kansas State. Had some very competitive teams, but the Texas Longhorns owned them. And in 2023, it required an overtime in Austin for Texas to beat Will Howard and Kansas State. Thanks for joining us, or joining me, for another episode of Stories Inside the Man Cave. In particular, let's talk about it. I am Sean Clinch, and this is my friend, the Left Eye Sty. Isn't he beautiful? It's beautiful. That was my New Year's Day present, and it's getting better. It doesn't look like it. Just like I told Stevie Lee, you should see the other guy. Bad joke. So we are 2 days out from CFP semifinal at the Cotton Bowl in Arlington. The winter weather threat is real. The prices for the tickets are dropping, but the excitement continues. So the Longhorns are only one win away from playing for a national championship against either Notre Dame or Penn State. UT's the only team from the South still alive in the Final Four of college football, and the only team from the SEC. Who would have thought it? But they were in this same position a year ago and almost stormed back against Washington. Cotton Bowl, Longhorns, Buckeyes. What needs to happen? Can Texas pull off the big upset? Because they are underdogs. Let's talk about it. Man, I'm hyped. I'm ready. I hope you are as well. I'm excited about this. You can feel the buzz if you're in Austin, Texas. You can feel it. There's a lot of people wearing Longhorn gear that probably have kept that Longhorn gear in their closets for, I'm not going to say the entire season, but you're seeing a lot of burnt orange. People wearing burnt orange that maybe you normally don't. But that's a great thing. This city is getting behind the Texas Longhorns. Before we get going, big shout out to all of our sponsors. To my left here, Jim Saxton State Farm, Dirty Martin's Place, iconic Austin Original and Hargrove Roofing, Know Who's on Your Roof, and Honest Plumbing and Air, where a handshake still means something. Be sure to follow us on each of our social media platforms. They're all right there for your viewing pleasure. It helps us, this podcast, and share our content. All right, here's the big storyline. Texas is a 6-point underdog, and I don't think that they've been an underdog, obviously, in a long time, since the trip to Tuscaloosa, Alabama in 2023. We saw how that worked out. And the Longhorns are wearing the icy white uniforms. Generally perform well in those. I don't know what it is, the mystique about it, but those are the road unis. And you think about this underdog role, I think it helps Texas. I think it gives them an advantage in many ways because people are starting to count out Texas, saying that they're not going to have no chance. And that plays into the part that Texas has, the me against the world. Be enamored with ourselves. That's one of the mantras of Steve Sarkisian's program. Well, the Longhorns don't seem to be too worried about it.
Yeah, just being where our feet are. Honing back in our details. Obviously we're trusting that our fans are going to come out and make an appearance, especially being up in Dallas, just up the road. So we feel like we have the advantage in that aspect. But, I think we're really dangerous as underdogs. We've been underdogs for a lot of big games my early years here.
Yeah, I feel like anytime any football team is counted out and going into a game, it definitely puts a chip on their shoulder to want to go out there and prove people wrong. But at the end of the day, we treat every week the same. We kind of come in every week with the same mindset. We try to make sure we have that same mentality of going out there and want to go dominate, no matter if we're the favorite team or if we're not.
Ohio State's playing really good football right now. And, if we want a chance, we got to match that and exceed that. So we got to put our best foot forward and come out swinging and, come out fast.
When you really think about it, Texas really hasn't played their best game in a long time this season. They really haven't. And I'm going to go back as far as the Michigan game. When Texas played in Ann Arbor, maybe that was their most complete game of the season. Yes, they've had some dominating performances. They find ways to win. But I want to go back to that Michigan game on the road to say that was the last time Texas truly played exceptional in every aspect of the game. Special teams, defense, offense, everything. And it's kind of hard to understand how that's possible. But am I wrong? I'm pretty sure it was against Michigan when they were just crisp on every level of the game. Now, let's talk about those defenses. Beginning with Ohio State. They're number one in total defense. They're number one in scoring defense. And I thought before the year, obviously I thought Texas had a great chance to get here and to potentially play for the national championship. But I thought OSU, Ohio State, was top to bottom, potentially the most talented team and potentially the best coach team in America. And here they are, total D, scoring D, the best in the country. Meanwhile, Texas, who has played stellar defense, they're number 3 in the country in total D and number 4 in scoring defense. And the reason why they have lowered is because of those 2 playoff games against Clemson and Arizona State. The defense has been a little leaky, so to speak. They have shown some weaker spots that teams can attack. You saw Arizona State taking Texas to 2 overtimes. You saw Clemson run the ball, break off one. You saw Cade Klubnik find some ways to get down the field. But all that really matters is if you pick up that W, the win. So Will Howard, the Ohio State quarterback who transferred from Kansas State, he was asked about that Texas defense and how he's very productive. Over 3,500 yards of offense with his legs and his arm. Will Howard talked about that Texas defense and how he plans or hopes to attack Texas offensively and finding ways to be productive.
I think they try to bait you into doing things, and I think they try to bait you into pushing the ball into tight windows, and you got to be smart. Playing a defense like this, you have to know when to take those shots and when not to, and when to be smart with it. And, there's cavities, there's creases in it, but you just have to find them and be patient with it and not force it to happen because, those guys react quick, and they break on balls well, especially at the corner position.
Yeah, Thorpe Award winner, Jahdae Barron. That entire defensive backfield, Andrew Makuba, solid. That entire defense, there's not many. If you really want to dig deep, I really can't tell you what's consistently to attack that may be a weakness. But teams are starting to find it and find a spot or a weakness either on the edge, in the secondary. But he's not wrong. Texas does a great job defensively of disguising and baiting quarterbacks. That's why they're in this round. They're that well coached. They have that great of players. And I'm just going to say it. Any of the 4 teams in the CFP right now can win the obviously the national championship. The only common opponent between Texas and Ohio State is Michigan. Texas won early in the year, a team that was rebuilding Michigan from that national championship. And then Ohio State losing to Michigan in that rivalry game. But how did they respond? With all of the criticism, Ohio State responded by beating Tennessee in the CFP in the first round, 42-17. Then they proved that was not a fluke by dominating the number 1 seed, Oregon, 41-21. It's pretty amazing if you ask me. So what do I think will happen? What do I think? What am I leaning toward? Let's talk about it on the other side of this break. The Saxton name resonates in Austin. Jim's late father, James Saxton, is a Longhorn legend, a Heisman finalist while playing for Darrell K. Royal. And Jimmy is a UT football legacy from Westlake. He has been insuring Austin for decades. He and his staff will give you old school hospitality when servicing your insurance needs.
Their OC really does a great job of providing a lot of eye candy for the defense, and all the shifts and motions. You have to make sure you're on the same page in order to play a really sound and complete game, and they've done a great job this year, and it's let them get to this point.
So Caleb Downs, who transferred into the portal when Nick Saban stepped down and retired from coaching at Alabama. So Caleb Downs played against Texas last year for Alabama, and he was the number 1 overall rated player in the portal after last season. Tremendous talent. So he knows Sark's offense very well. Again, they bait you on offense just like Texas does on defense. So well-versed. Obviously, the young man has watched a lot of film. And so that leads me to this. What do I think will happen? Well, let's first ask you. This question's on Twitter. What's your 3 objectives for Texas to defeat Ohio State? Tweet me. Talk to us on Facebook, our Facebook page, Twitter, and I'll even put it up on the Stories Inside the Man Cave Instagram page. I've got a feeling, because of how good these defenses are, and because I think Texas will respond differently to the criticism. Now, they've got to stop the best receiver, arguably, in the country for Ohio State. They've got to pressure and make Will Howard very uncomfortable. And they've got a good running game, too. And that defensive front is almost like watching an NFL front. But Texas has a great front, too. What Texas can't do is, and this was not a criticism from Sark, the defense was on the field for 97 to 100 plays last week. They scored a special teams touchdown. They scored quickly. The defense was on the field. Didn't have much rest. Complimentary football, which will slow the game down. And I think this is going to be a game in which you take the under, which I don't know what it is, but take the under. I think it's 56 points, maybe. You take the under in this game because these defenses, I believe, are going to show out. Old school football. We're going to look at a score, maybe 20-17. When you're talking about the college football playoff and Texas 2 wins away from playing for it all against another blue blood, that being Ohio State at the Cotton Bowl, man, it's always good to talk about it.